The time of 8:30 has arrived, so let's call our meeting to order. If I could have a roll call, please.
Member Pachowski.
Here.
Vice Chair Chapman.
Here.
Member Hart.
Here.
Member Plant. Member Chavez.
Here.
Chair Redlich.
Here. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. For remarks this morning, since we passed our budget, I just wanted to have a couple comments about that. The packaging extended producer responsibility will be starting to meet with stakeholders this month with a goal of having a bill ready to be introduced by mid-February. So for those that need a refresher, that is to try to put the packaging responsibility on to the people who are generating that, rather than the consumers to be able to have to deal with that. So good news there. The proposed budget was approved with the additional funding for document shredding, a study of dining services packaging, services to help in the drafting of the county's 5-year solid waste program, management plan, and consulting services for an unincorporated waste hauling contract. Staff is working with procurement to put out these solicitations, and those contracts will be brought to this committee for consideration. Still waiting to see what Lake County is going to do with their trash hauling. It was on their agenda last week, I believe, and got pulled because they didn't think they had given the public enough notice that it was going to be on the agenda. So still waiting to see what happens there.
Happening this week. I just talked to someone from Lake.
Thank you. And I did speak yesterday with Gary Mufelt, who is the kind of the overseer of the highway commissioners, just to clarify any rumors that might be flying around about what it is we're trying to do. And I said, look, I just want to see what's going to happen with Lake County and implement for DuPage what works for DuPage. So I did get one of the supervisors said, no, we don't want you to get one trash hauler for the whole county. I'm like, I don't want to do that either. So if you hear any rumors, please direct them back to me. Do we have public comment this morning? I think we do.
Good morning. Hi, I'm Catherine Franzik. I'm the observer from the League of Women Voters. I'm also a chair of the environment team in the league for Wheaton and a resident of Naperville. But one of the things that's come to my attention and our attention is that smoke detectors require proper disposal handling like other electronics. They pose a danger to groundwater when disposed in our landfills. Ionization smoke detectors use a small amount of radioactive material in the sensor called the Americium-241. And it has a very long half-life. In fact, chances are when the time comes to place your ionization smoke alarm, even with a 10-year battery, at that point, it will still have the same amount of radioactive material as when you bought it. So one of the things Americium-241 has is the same general hazards as other Americium isotopes. I'm always learning science, right? Is both extremely toxic and radioactive. And in addition, nearly all smoke detectors, photoelectric or ionization models, contain circuit boards, which are bad for landfills also. Circuit boards contain lead, among other toxins, can leach into the groundwater and possibly into the water supply. So I'm just asking the board to look at that as consideration for including that in our hazardous waste disposal pickup areas. And I appreciate your time and wish you all a really wonderful holiday season. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming this morning, Catherine. Any other public comment this morning? Joy, I just wanted to circle back with you if you had anything you wanted to kind of expand on with the budget and the items that were approved or.
No, I think
okay.
you did a great job.
Next, I'll ask for a motion on the approval of minutes from our meeting November 2nd. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. We are looking for parent committee approval on action item 2022 DuPage County document shredding program.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Next, we'll have staff report on Pool DuPage 2007 through 2020 metrics and emissions report.
So, good morning.
We received the information, the data from ComEd and NICOR, did the calculation. As you may recall, our cool DuPage goals are based on kilowatt hours it's greenhouse gases, but ultimately kilowatt hours, therms, and vehicle miles traveled. So we did our measurement with our baseline being 2007. And I am pleased to report that we are at 22% reduction in greenhouse gases since 2007. The majority of those savings, as you saw from the memo, were generated from electricity, not as much from the therms. Natural gas seems to have I would say, a roller coaster type trend, depending on the weather. We are seeing a little bit of reduction in the vehicle miles traveled. I went ahead and used the 2019 vehicle miles traveled just to be a little bit more fair, as opposed to using the 2020. I thought that would be a little more realistic, but I am anxious to see as we proceed here, and there is so much remote work going on, I have a feeling that vehicle miles traveled is going to continue to go down over time. So we're very pleased. Our next goal is 2030, which is a 20% reduction, which we've already achieved here. But, things do fluctuate. So we'll keep an eye on things and keep the community up to speed as to how things are progressing.
I'll just add that not a bad reason to allow more remote work. So. And go ahead on the next.
Sure. I just wanted to bring to the committee's attention, the 2022 Environmental Summit is taking place on January 25th. It will be virtual. This is something that the Conservation Foundation puts together, and the county is a sponsor. We contribute $1,000, I believe it's $1,000 toward that event. We are among the other sponsors, which is, I believe, the DuPage Foundation, Bedrock, Christopher Bird, Forest Preserve District. The topic this year remains climate change, and it's nature's resiliency and how we can achieve some of our climate change goals using nature.
Thank you. Next, we'll ask, we have a presentation from our partners with Scarce. Okay.
Good morning, everybody.
Is this the Willowbrook?
No, this should be this.
Scarce. Something scarce one.
You want to jump to the Willowbrook one while you load up the Scarce?
That's fine.
Okay. So next, we're going to have a presentation by a Forest Preserve staffer that I'm not sure who it is.
Dan Zinnen or Kevin Horsfall.
Okay, thank you. About the solar projects at Willowbrook, or for the Forest Preserve. Good morning.
Morning. I'm Dan Zinnen from the Forest Preserve District.
Hello, Dan.
I'm Director of Resource Management and Development. Kevin Horsfall, who's one of my coworkers, is actually our in-house solar expert. He's on another meeting with our board talking solar items. So I'm going to present our Willowbrook presentation to you. Thanks for inviting us. Solar projects are a priority for the district right now. They were identified as part of our master plan for our long-term green energy programs. The district's had a long history of doing solar projects. We've had an array on one of our barns at Denata Farm for many years to generate electricity. Here at our headquarters, we have an array that supplements our hot water heat. And at our landfills, we've used solar flares and pumps to help maintain our landfills. In 2019, we did our first larger solar system out at the Preserve at Oak Meadows Clubhouse. As part of our cart barn, that array provides electric for our fleet of 75 electric golf carts. And in 2020, we did a system on the Willowbrook Wildlife Center Species Recovery Building, which is the topic of our presentation today. Willowbrook Wildlife Center is located in Glen Ellen on Avenue, immediately east of COD. If you want to go back, if you could go back to the first slide. The Species Recovery Building is the building off on the left with the solar panels on the roof. This building was selected and considered for a number of reasons. It had a nice south-facing aspect, but even with that, you can see that there is the shadow of trees on the roof, which limits the productivity of the roof. And on the far left, you'll notice there's a small tree that's growing and would eventually shade the roof, and we'll be moving that tree to optimize operation of the solar facility. If you want to proceed to perhaps the next slide 3. Our facility at Willowbrook includes the Species Recovery Building and also Animal Care Clinic. The total consumption is 270,000 kilowatts. That's about equivalent to 27 to 30 residential homes. And looking at our building, we had to determine was the aspect favorable for the sunlight capture? Was the building structurally adequate to take the additional load of the panels? And what else did we consider? All right, that third item's escaping me. Based upon the part of the roof that we could place panels on, we could accommodate a system that'll generate 81,000 kilowatt hours annually, which is about 29% of the existing use of the building. That 81,000 kilowatt hours is approximately equal to what 10 or 11 residential homes would use. Based upon pricing in 2020, our annual savings would be about $8,000 per year of cost avoided. And we were able to receive about $84,000 incentives from ComEd and state solar renewable energy credits. The system on the building has 196 panels at 370 watts each. And consideration, the one I forgot earlier, is that this building had a metal roof on it, which makes putting a solar system on it much easier than on like an asphalt or shingle roof, because the grooves of the metal panels can serve as a clamping point for the solar panels. So you don't actually have to penetrate into the roof to affix the panels onto the roof itself. Basically, all our electric conduit runs below the soffits of the building, so they're not really visually noticeable. And then the last few items there are just all electrical stuff that if you're not an electrician, don't mean much to any of us. It does have an emergency disconnect in case there was a problem with the system. These are design plans for the system. We've used a couple solar consultants. This project, we used Patrick Engineering out of Lisle. Like any building system, it needs to be prepared by professional engineers and architects. If you want to go to the next page, this is a side view of the building. It's basically showing that all the conduits run along the soffit of the building, so they're really hidden from view. And then they tie in to the main electric box for the building there to the left. Go to the next page. This may be what you're really interested in. How much did the system cost? Engineering design fees were just about $24,000. Permitting mainly through DuPage County was $1,000. Actual cost of the solar system itself was $130,000. So all in, it cost $155,000 to actually install it. And we were able to reduce our out-of-pocket costs by, we received $68,000 in the solar renewable energy credits and $14,000 from ComEd. So our cost was $72,000. And then we had a private donor who contributed $25,000 to this project. So our out-of-pocket was further reduced to $47,000. I will note the donors actually approached us wanting to help facilitate us doing a solar project, and that donation helped convince our board that this was a project worth pursuing. Do you have any questions?
And the donor has made another donation to the Forest Preserve, is that correct?
Yes, well, they've made a commitment.
Okay.
The presentation Kevin is giving right now is on our Blackwell solar project at our fleet management building in Blackwell Forest Preserve. That is going to be a much larger project. It's about a $900,000 project. We have a commitment of approximately $100,000 so far.
Thank you. Any questions for Dan?
The Forest Preserve really has done a great job with their electric golf carts, and they're really leading the way in all this solar installations on the roofs and everything. So in the past few years, they've really done an outstanding job, and something to be we shall be talking about, and something for us to possibly work on here at the county.
Thank you, Liz. And on that note, I had seen this presentation a while ago and invited the president of the Forest Preserve to send somebody. And it just so happens that this presentation is going on this morning because the same donors that had pledged the $125,000 to the Forest Preserve have given us a proposal for $25,000 for solar here at the county complex. So I've been having conversations with Nick about this, and so hopefully we will see more solar arrays at the county complex. And there were only two conditions: one, that we use it by next May, and that the panels be manufactured in the US. So not a lot of strings attached to that donation. And Nick and facilities will be meeting today to kind of figure out the direction of that donation. So I was thrilled that it came together with our presentation this morning. So thank you so much, Dan.
Okay, thank you for having me, and good luck on your project.
Thank you, thank you. All righty, do we have Scarce up next? And we all know Kay McKean from Scarce.
All right, so last month we didn't get to talk, so I just really fast, they had that textile transformation workshop, and we are so fortunate with our new space, you guys. We have plenty of room for people to be social distance and have one person at a table. But we are thrilled to announce that our new reflective roof is completely installed at Scarce now. So we have 18,900 square feet of reflective roof. So we're looking forward to lower energy bills for sure, but we're really excited about that. So the room is plenty big for us to have groups and have social distancing, and we're grateful. The textile transformation workshop went really well. One of the things we were impressed about was the number of college professors and college instructors who came. Textiles is a big issue in our colleges with fashion design classes and things like that. And so we were really pleased. We had 3 different professors there that 2 I don't know, well, I've just met, and 1 that we know pretty well. So that means they're going to have outreach to a lot more students. And they also made the contact with all different things that we brought up that they can add to their classes. So we were really thrilled about reuse first with the textiles, right? And then the plastic fibers when we dry clothes and those little tiny microfibers that go through our water and those, so forth, and get into our rivers and streams. And then of course, textile recycling. So it was really well attended. Thank you, Nixon. Again, York High School received their recertification Earth Flag, and we were thrilled that we had 4 county board members there to honor York High School. They have done an incredible job over the years. And on the far right is Mr. Bob Blouse, who has been the sponsor of the Eco Club. He has really done, I can't even tell you the amount of work that man has done to lead his students. Last year, you guys, they won all 3 of the Sustainable Design Challenge Awards. He really does amazing work with the students and gets so much enthusiasm going at that school. So that was a great flag ceremony to have. Next slide. So the pumpkin smash, you guys, wow. We've broken all our records again. This year we had 58 locations in Northern Illinois. I think 6 have still not reported their numbers, but we averaged over 4 tons per location. 90.5 tons is attributed just to the 22 locations. Again, Lisle Township was new for us this year. Lombard was new for us this year. What a really great project with the junior women's and the park district and the city. One of the county staff members from Stormwater helped us with a collection in Aurora. And then we had Wooddale and Itasca. Itasca has done this before, but this is the first year they've joined us back. And they did it with Wooddale. So you guys, this equals 165.9 metric tons of CO2 avoided in this one event. Yeah, not counting that 90 tons isn't going to our landfills. And so many people ask questions about when are our towns going to do it? When is unincorporated going to do it? When are condos going to do this? So it's just going crazy, and people, Schaumburg called for the date for next year, and we are really thrilled, but that's 165. Oh, that says 65. It's Beverly, is that right? 65 or 165?
169.
169 metric tons. So I've got to fix that. That might have been before we had all the totals.
Well, that's the 2020 number up there. Is that the?
Yeah, that's probably
okay.
why.
Yeah.
So anyway, really excited to have new towns join us and to reduce that much going to landfill and reduce our carbon footprint. And if you guys know, methane is up to 85 times worse as it contributes to climate change as CO2. So this is huge for reducing our carbon footprint. So go ahead, next slide. Maybe. And the cooking oil project, again, we had 5 pop-ups. The village of St. Charles joined us this year, and just a small portion of DuPage County is in St. Charles, but it gave a northwest location for people to drop off their cooking oil and again, reduce our carbon footprint. And you guys probably saw the news with United. They've said all along they want to be the first airline flying on grease and cooking oil and fogs and so forth. So it really came up, the timing was really great, but 317 gallons of cooking oil. 4 sites have not reported, they didn't keep track. So that's the number that we'll have for this time. But we are really thrilled with having 5 pop-ups and having them spread around the county. I've got to work on the Downers Grove just does a great job because it's 7 days a week for people to drop off their cooking oil. They just have a drop-off location, and the Glenbard has a drop-off. I'd love to have more sites where it's very convenient for people to drop off 7 days a week in your container. They have an outdoor bin. That would make it so easy. Reduce our carbon footprint, right? And keep it out of our storm drains and keep it out of our clogged city drains. So that was a huge project. And you guys, if you take that, those gallons, a gallon of cooking oil is about 7.5 pounds. So all of that didn't go to a landfill and be liquids there. So really happy with how that's progressing. Go ahead. So smoke detector, thank you, Catherine, saved me some time, but Elmhurst has been collecting smoke detectors from their residents for 2 years now. And they are doing a great job. Howard Killian and I started that project. Now the city of Wheaton has one. We are not announcing it, except that we're telling you here, but we're not announcing it. We run the second Saturday of the month, the electronics and textiles that Joy has started, and we've done scrap metal and so forth for many, many years. And every week, every time we are open, we get 6 to 10 smoke detectors that people bring in. Because as Catherine said, people know it's an electronic. The electronics companies cannot take radioactive waste. So these bins, that yellow bin is $1,287, and that includes the shipping and the handling of those radioactive chips and the circuit boards. So now our commission for the city of Wheaton, we have purchased one that we're not announcing, but as they come in, we're going to collect them and see how we do. But I want to announce we got 2 grants. We got a grant to buy one for Scarce because people stick them in with their books. Because you know, smoke detectors are books, aren't they? And art supplies for kids. So every single week we get 1 or 2 smoke detectors, you guys. And if we don't see them, so now we got a grant from says they're Hazardous Materials Professionals Chicago chapter. And so we have one of those bins now for us at Scarce. Again, we're not going to announce it because we'll get more than we can handle, but those bins hold approximately 155 smoke detectors each. And then that means the shipping and the demanufacturing, the circuit board for that kind of recycling, and the radioactive waste collection to keep it out of the landfills. The second grant we got was from the DuPage Foundation, and we are going to be able to purchase 2 of those. And we're working with Lisle, Woodridge, Addison. I think those are the 3 towns that we're talking about. Whether we bring a collection bin to an event or whether we give it to that city for them to manage it a little bit like Addison, Elmhurst does, we're not quite sure. But we are thrilled to be able to have 3 more ways to keep this radioactive waste out of our soil, water, air for centuries to come. It's bless you. And then we're still learning about there are smoke detectors, you guys, that are carbon monoxide detectors as well as smoke detectors. They take up more space in your 155, but it's still radioactive. So we're working to learn a lot more about this, but $1,287 seems pretty low cost to protect the planet for centuries to come from radioactive waste. Did you see the new law in Illinois? The new law requires smoke detectors to be changed every 10 years now. Many people have never changed a smoke detector. If you talk to fire chiefs like Russ in Glendale Heights, fire chiefs would like those changed every 6 years. So the 10-year was kind of a compromise somehow to get you to change them, but really 6 years. And one of the factors here in DuPage County is humidity. And humidity makes particles stick to the sensors in smoke detectors, which then makes them much less effective. So that's why the fire chiefs would like 6 years, but it's 10. Do you know how many people read that on the front page of the Tribune? Do you know how many smoke detectors are going to start going into the garbage because people have never changed a smoke detector? So the timing is even more critical, you guys. So we're very, very grateful to the grants. It's going to take a lot of education and we'll move forward. Go ahead. Next one. Menards, as you heard, is now taking LED bulbs. So that has been great news for lots of residents who call constantly about that. Next one. Oh, yes.
Is there a fee for that or is it free?
It's free. Free drop off. Yes. Next one. So the holiday light has started collections. The problem is Elgin Recycling is now requiring a $200 fee for them to drop off and pick up your holiday lights. So a lot of groups are going to collect them and just bring them to Scarce because if we have enough room to store enough, there won't be any charge to come and pick them up. But the really important thing is just not the copper and the brass, it is the tanglers. Holiday lights, people put them in the recycling bins and then they tangle all the equipment at the sorting facility. So it's kind of a double win to collect holiday lights, keep them out of the landfill and keep them out of recycling bins. Yeah.
Should we be cutting them up to make them just shorter pieces?
No, don't cut them up because there's the value in them for them is the length of the electrical copper.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Are artificial trees that are pre-lit, are they also, what do you do with them when they die?
Yeah, don't give them, So people unfortunately have brought us in Christmas trees with lights, left them at our back door, naughty, naughty. And then we have to untangle those, unwrap those. Do you know how much work it is? So if you have an artificial tree with lights, take the lights off yourself, and yes, we want the lights.
Okay, and then the tree's just trash.
Trash is, yes, unless it's in good shape, you guys, Goodwill and the Restore did not get as many trees this year, and they give those away. So usually they quit accepting trees at Thanksgiving because they have so many. This year, they're taking them through after Christmas, through New Year's, because they don't have enough for families for next year. So if it's in good shape, you have all the pieces. They don't like the parts with the top missing or whatever, but if they're in good shape, they will take them with the lights on. Okay? Yeah, yeah. So, but they use them again. And then you guys, as I mentioned, the education center, we were able to do hybrid. So at this meeting that we had, we were able to do the virtual for people as well as in-house. So we were grateful for that. Next slide. And this is just a list of October and November, the numbers of programs we gave. We are so grateful that people are getting vaccinated and people are coming and coming for programs. We've been able to help so many groups. Our numbers are off the scope. Schools are starting to come again. I'm not sure what's going to happen now with the new virus strain that's coming, but right now we are grateful for the schools and the libraries and the park districts and the garden clubs and the civic groups coming for programs, especially the businesses. We have had so many more businesses calling. I think they're ready to take next steps. So we're working with one company in Carroll Stream about food scrap composting. We're working with a company that's got 3 businesses here in the county. So we are, and one now, a new one in Itasca. So we are really grateful. They're all working on either new earth flags. So go ahead. And this is our education numbers for this past contract year. 19 teacher workshops. Bev, were we supposed to do 12?
Yeah.
12. We did 21 student programs. School was closed. We're supposed to do 50, but schools were closed. We did the best we could, and the group's coming. And then we were supposed to do how many community? 20. We're supposed to do 20 community programs and events, and we did 162. So we have been incredibly busy. November, you guys, was just incredibly busy, but I think people want to be doing the right thing for the environment, and we're thrilled to be a partner in that. I think that's the last slide. Oh, small businesses, Now Foods. That's the name of the company in Carroll Stream, Antunes, and then Chicago Glue and Machine of Itasca. Those are all 3 companies that we're working with right now that we're very excited to be helping. Oh, those are recycling bins. Addison, Milton Township, and Naperville Rotary all were in October and November. Go ahead. Yeah, you guys, we have 12 scheduled for 2022. Thanks, everybody.
Great job, Kay. Thank you. All righty, running over a little bit this morning. So does anybody have any old business? Seeing none. Pardon me, any new business? Without objection, we're adjourned.